Good morning. Hi, I'm Frank Messina, and I'd like to welcome you to the September 20th, 2022 meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission. We have some notes to read before we start formally. This meeting is being recorded and will be available shortly hereafter for scheduled and on-demand viewing on any smartphone or tablet device. If anyone else is recording the meeting, please notify the chairman. Seeing none. Pursuant to Governor Baker's July 16, 2022 signing of an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, including the extension of his March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, General Law 30A 20, until March 31st, 2023, this meeting of the Chatham Historical Commission is being conducted both in person and via remote participation, and shall avoid adequate alternate means of public access via Microsoft Teams by calling the phone number 508-945-4410, conference ID 226-126-392 or by joining the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. Despite our best efforts, we will not be able to provide for real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting on the town's website as soon as possible. Thank you very much. The first order of business is the roll call. Vice Chair Lear.
Here.
Steve Burlingame, absent. Ben Smolodzinski, absent. Stephanie Hamilton.
Here.
Jane Moffett.
Here.
Thank you. Don Aikman.
Here.
Sandy Porter.
Here.
And Janet Tennyson.
Here.
Being we have two regular members, Steve Burlingame and Ben Solodzinski, absent, our two alternates, Sandy Porter and Janet Tennyson, will continue to discuss and vote as regular members of the commission on today. Our agenda consists of actually 4 applications which will probably be continued and 1 new application. But let's do the minutes first and get that out of the way before we proceed. You have all received the minutes of September 6, 2022. Short and sweet. Any comments or questions?
I have a minor nitpick.
Sorry.
On the second page.
Second page?
Middle of the page, the, I don't know, 5th paragraph down, a motion was made by Mr. Lear. Second line, it's historically significant, not significance.
Thank you. Got that, Christina? Yes.
It seems like I wasn't here in the meeting. this time.
Could you hit your mic?
It seems like I wasn't here in the meeting because I didn't do any votes. My name's not down for any votes.
So what's wrong? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Where you vote and you put down the names of who voted, I'm
Yes.
not on any of them.
And she voted on all of them.
Okay?
My mistake, I'll put your
All right.
name.
No problem.
Two for two here, okay. All right, any other questions, comments, additions, deletions? Can we have a vote on the minutes as amended?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second by Stephanie. Thank you, Don. Okay, roll call on the minutes. Bob?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Jane? Jane, you abstain, you were absent, thank you. Don?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, minutes accepted. All right, here we go. Mr. Riley, can you come forward? We're going to have discussions on 305 and then I guess also 170, so you can help us. For the public's information, the meetings were adjourned or continued from our last meeting on 9/6 as we awaited comments from Sarah Korjeff. Sarah Korjeff is the preservation consultant for the Cape Cod Commission. As both of these applications, 305 and 170, are contributing structures in the National Register District, when we have an application, once there was some concern on the members of the commission relative to the applicability and comments from the public relative to concerns about it, we wanted to obtain Sarah's professional opinion relative to what's happening and what are her comments. Let me just say, quick aside, Bill, I saw her. You know, so public understands what's going on. The bottom line is when a home is a contributing structure in a National Registered District, in addition to our Chapter 158, we have an obligation to review it under the Cape Cod Commission Act. If the commission finds that the structure, doesn't meet all the requirements of our historical significance and some concerns about its listing on the National Register, we have the ability, not necessarily required to, submit it to Cape Cod Commission for a review. What we like to do is get the Cape Cod Commission's staff member to give us some comments before that happens. The purpose of that, quite candidly, just for we have everybody on the same wavelength, the Cape Cod Commission really wants us to resolve these things at the local level. They're not looking for us to send things to the Cape Cod Commission, and they prefer that we try to find a way to resolve it locally. And that's the reason we do that. And thank you very much, Bill.
Frank, before you start on 305, I am continue to be recused, so I will leave you.
Okay. Just 305?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Well, in that vein, after our last meeting, we got further comments, as you mentioned, from Sarah Korjeff, which, kind of to our surprise, were primarily concerned with the raising of the building. I guess it was just before our last meeting. Raising of the building proposed to be 4 feet. So we took, we circled the wagons and took Sarah's comments to heart. And so the applicant we're redoing plans, which is why we need a continuance today, so that the main building that faces Main Street would go up 2 feet rather than 4 feet. They just have to design a better drainage system around the foundation. And then there were some serious concerns regarding the L appearing to have 3 stories. So we're revising that so it clearly is just 2 stories. So the ridge of the back L will be substantially below the main ridge of the antique, and will actually be below the L ridge on the antique. So we think we're optimistic that these are changes that would seem to be appropriate and approvable by this group. So we request a continuance to your first meeting in October for the 305 Main Street.
Okay, thank you. Michelle, Chris, what date is that, the October meeting?
October 4th.
October 4th?
Yep.
Okay, can I get a motion to, Don? A motion? That's all right.
I move that the Historical Commission continue this hearing until October 4th.
I'll second.
Thank you,
I'll
Steph.
second.
Okay. Any other comments or discussion? Thank you very much. We'll do a roll call. And we appreciate it, Bill. I think we can come to some kind of
Yeah, we're optimistic.
conclusion. Okay. We're gonna get Stephanie,
Yes?
Jane,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Janet,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Thank you, Bill.
Do you want to do 170?
Yeah, tell Bob, oh, he's coming in. Just give me a second. I won't read Sarah Korjeff's comments, but for the members of the public, if they want it, they're available at Community Development if they want the details or comments. I assume you got copies of them, Norm? Norm, did you get copies of them? Mr. Pakin? Did you get copies of Sarah Korjeff's comments?
I did, and I am opposed to the continuance if you may wish to hear me.
I'm sorry, would you like to speak to the continuance?
Yes, I would.
All right, I'm sorry I didn't do that. Why don't you come on up? Didn't ask for comments? Sorry, Bob.
Short and sweet, Barbara.
As a new expression I've learned recently, my bad, that I didn't ask for comments. So,
I'll be
please,
brief, Mr. Chairman.
thank you.
My name is Norman Pakin, 14 Sunset Lane, Chatham, a resident of the Old Village, and one of those, along with my wife, who formed with others the Old Village Association and the Old Village National Register District. The continuance that the members of this commission seem to have unanimously approved, I think are premature. We do not have any new plans to look at, any revised plans to look at. But most important, the L, which in the original set of plans and the comments made by Mr. Riley and Ms. Kempton at the last meeting, made it clear that they regarded the L as not a contributing structure in the National Register District, but that is false. The L, along with the main building, is a single contributing structure in the National Register District. As such, this board, this commission, is still, to my knowledge, being asked to allow that structure, the L, as part of the main building, to be raised, to be substantially altered, to be demolished. I do not think that this board can or should have the ability to do that. National Register District structures can only be demolished or approved by the Cape Cod Commission itself under the Cape Cod Commission Act. I think if this commission takes that approach, if it does, I'm not saying it does, but if it does, I think that will change radically what we have in the Old Village, because structures that are not only contributing, but form a significant part of the pattern of the neighborhood are still gradually being lost. They may not appear to be something special, but that is the character of the Old Village National Register District. And so I wish to state my opposition to the continuance. I think that the applicant did not provide new or additional or changed plans, and I think that it is important to note that for the record, and thank you for hearing me.
Well, thank you very much, Norm. Just a quick comment, not to get into a debate or discussion. You know, I made the comments earlier relative to how the commission interprets with the Cape Cod Commission our role and responsibilities, and I just think, and we could discuss this another time, the difference between a National Register District and an historic district, which is different, historic district, relative to the rules and responsibilities. And you're right, we don't have the authority. It goes to the Cape Cod Commission, but I think there's a different view on how we could proceed. What this commission decides to do, I don't know, but, you know, that's a different emphasis.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Are you going to speak to 170 now?
No, I have to respond to Mr. Pakin's
Okay.
comments because they're so incorrect. So the property at the corner of Water Street, School Street and Hallett Lane, for those of you who were on the commission at that time, had a very substantial L that ran along Hallett Lane. Very substantial. Probably.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about
Yeah.
now.
So
Not a-
it was much larger than the original antique.
Well, there is precedence. I'm not going to
Well,
argue that.
I know, but, you know, And that L, as far as we could tell, had been constructed in 1923 and was clearly part of a contributing structure. And I know that I never said that the L at 305 Main Street is not a contributing structure, because I know what the policy of the commission is. So as long as, if it was built in 1985, it would be a contributing structure.
Right.
As long as it's on the inventory. So, just wanted to correct that.
Okay, fine. Bob, Mr. Leary? We're having the hearing even though we're continuing. Okay, go ahead.
The example that was just pointed out, I think, was a mistake by this commission, and we allowed more to be taken off that building than we should have.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry. Okay, we're now going to address 170 Main Street. Mr. Riley?
Thank you. We're still waiting for comments from Sarah Korjeff for 170, so we wouldn't expect the commission to act on our application until we've received those comments and had an opportunity, really for both of us, to address those concerns.
Thank you. Just for the board and the public's information, in conversation with Sarah Korjeff, actually yesterday or the day before yesterday, I forget, she was unfortunately called away to a conference and, busy lady, and one on paper hanger, and I think it's a staff of two, so, and I, quite honestly, she wanted, I said, no, just do it, finish it, don't rush it, let's do it well, and she's going to do that. So hopefully we'll get them today or tomorrow, the comments, and we'll get them to you as soon as possible.
Great. Could I
Thank you. There's a motion?
Could I just first make a comment? I was asked yesterday by one of the neighbors at 170 about what's going on with this, and I had to say, I don't know, and I respect Mr. Riley's position, but I just ask that if we don't get Sarah's comments until next week or whatever, and you don't have time to react to, and you want to have a change of plans, that we know that the week before
Right.
the hearing is to be held, so that
And I'll-
applicants don't feel they need to come.
Right, and I'll do my best. As you know,
Only too well.
I'm just the lawyer.
Well, in conversations with the architect, designer, builder, Mr. Rick Roy, he well expects them and feels that, let me put it this way, given the previous comments by the commission, okay, and our feelings, even without Sarah's comments, I think he has a sense of what the board was looking for from our previous comments, and Sarah's comments will probably, hopefully, will validate that at another level, and he'll proceed. So he is already, quite candidly, moving ahead, on changes, recognizing some of the issues that we raised during the previous meeting. So I think we should be okay having them both at the 10-4 continuance. Yes, Bob?
No, that's fine. Mr. Riley understands me, so I
Yeah.
get it.
Right.
Okay, need a motion for continue the 170 Main Street, 22012 to 10-4?
So move, with the applicant's approval.
Second?
I'll second.
Second by Stephanie, thank you. Any member of the public wish to speak? Got it right this time. Okay, roll call. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Jane?
yes,
Don?
Yes?
Sandy?
Yes.
That was a yes?
Yes.
Janet?
yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay. All right. The next application that we have, let me find it. This goes here, that goes here, this goes here. Is 22013, Chapter 158, hearing on 62 Oyster Pond Furlong. And the applicant is Jeremy and Sarah Philo. And I want to tell you off the bat, Jerry, for those of us who were at the site visit yesterday and looking at your application in detail, we kind of have a little game we play where we rate your application, okay?
Yeah.
I have to say, we usually been giving out A's a lot lately, but this is an A++.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Thank you. And I think the fact that you're an architect and you have a little bit of background, you kind of, and it's, we've been angsting over our application, like, maybe it's too confusing, people don't understand it, but obviously, you understood it. And you, so maybe it's not our application, it's the applicant, so,
Well, do I push this, or no, you can hear me? I appreciate that, but let me just say that Michelle is a huge reason that
All right,
application
okay.
looks the way it does.
How much did she
So I would
pay
be
you?
completely remiss if I didn't say that. So,
all right.
thank you.
Why don't you introduce yourself and
Yeah, I'm Jeremy Philo, the owner of 62 Oyster Pond Furlong. This is our house up here in Chatham. We got it a year ago, so we're using it for ourselves. It's not an investment property. It's not anything like that. So this plan is to do the things that we need for the long term. So, do you want me to just to jump into what we're doing?
yeah,
or-
why don't you quickly, and let me just indicate
Yep.
for the public, there's a Form B on this property. I don't think there's going to be any contention whether or not this is an historically significant property. I don't think the applicant is going to take that position negative, so why don't we just, if there's no we're going to eliminate that issue right now. Go ahead.
I move that Chatham Historical Commission find that the structure located at 92 Oyster Pond Furlong,
62.
62 Oyster, I wrote it down wrong. Oyster Pond Furlong is historically significant because it is in whole or in part 75 years old or more, and it is associated with one or more historical persons of the town or commonwealth and possesses architectural value or significance in terms of period style.
I'll
Second.
Oh, Jane did it.
Thank you.
Jane, second? Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments, questions? Nope. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Sorry. Stephanie?
Yes?
Jane?
Yes,
Don?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Okay, now, would you give us a quick overview?
Sure. So what we're proposing is an addition to what I'll say is the front right side of the property. As I explained on the site visit yesterday, this property is surrounded by conservation land that creates a plethora of various setbacks. And so you can see on this existing plan, the red lines, of which there are many, kind of indicate those lines. So after working with all that and yes, drawing up several different possible scenarios, that's how we came to locate the addition that we're doing in that front right portion. And also, trying to keep and maintain the identification of the historic house, because, we love the house, and obviously that's why we bought it and want to be sensitive to that. We're not looking to transform that or update that in a way that loses that character in any way. So it's a delicate balancing act. I understand that. The proposed addition will sit in that corner. Just quickly, as an aside too, the house has two driveways. I don't know when exactly they were put in. There's a driveway that is asphalt on the left-hand side down Absegami, and then there's a stone loop driveway that comes off of Oyster Pond. So because of that, the interior layout of the house is a little bit backwards. The kitchen's on the opposite side from what is the garage. It's not exactly how you would program a house. So some of the plan here is to kind of correct that also from just a living perspective. So we're going to get rid of the driveway on the left-hand side, the one that enters off of Absegami ultimately, and that's actually in a DEP regulated wetland area. So that's a positive in that way to eliminate all that impervious surface over there. We're going to turn the garage, which is not part of the original structure. This house was moved here, I think, in the early 1900s from the spot over on Ryder Cove, where I think an identical house built for two brothers actually still resides. And then I think that's when they put the garage in or sometime after that. That's on the left-hand side again on this image. We're going to convert that into a bedroom and a bathroom, but really minimally change the outside. We'll eliminate the garage door, put in a window that'll function for the bathroom, and then another window on the rear. The front of that left-hand annex, I'll call it, will stay the same. So then it moves over to the right-hand side, and really on the right-hand side, our addition is what we'll call sunroom, which is 1 story, which will connect in some, maybe Michelle, if you want to jump ahead, it might be, okay, so I'll stay here just quickly to show. So the button in the middle bottom is that garage door I just referenced, just to cycle through that. And then the upper right rear elevation is where we're popping in, and that's the stuff that's being added to the garage.
Michelle, do you have a pointer that you could use if it was easy?
Is there one up here? Like right in front of me?
Thank you.
Yes, there you go.
Good.
Now I feel better. So that's the garage. That door is being removed, infilled, and it'll be cedar shake for this entire facade with a window, double hung, true divided light wood historic sash window will be put in, and then the same thing here, a small window popping in this back corner, which is just around the corner from that garage door. And that garage door is a fiberglass garage door, as it currently sits. So then going to the other side, on the stone driveway side, we will be kind of reorienting some living space and connecting to the main part of the house there. So the big thing is the existing house, we're going to maintain really all of this. The connection into the house will be through that window there. We will simply remove the window, cut the opening to the floor, recase that opening, and you will enter that'll be the only connection there. The windows that are this window and the 2 that are on what is the kitchen now, which will stay the kitchen, they will stay, and they will just be present in the sunroom part of the addition. And the new addition will be, cedar through and through, roof, walls. So, Michelle, if you could flip forward. So this notes the components. So these are the 2 this is the garage door being removed, the window being cut in. These windows are existing. They're windows that I think were salvaged, and they mismatch. So these will be replaced with new wood, true divided light, historical sash windows. Here is that opening that I just talked about that's being cut, the window being removed, cut to the floor. And then, the cedar shake will be retained to the degree that it can be retained, and then replaced and or repaired when the addition is attached and finished. Maybe jump forward. So here is the proposed plan. It shows it a little more clearly. That pink is the addition, and that's a pool. The driveway will no longer be a loop either. We'll just have a rear driveway with a turnaround at the end and reestablish the front as grass area. Skip forward. So here is the proposed elevations. So this is the front elevation of the house down here. So this is that garage component. Here is the main centerpiece to the original cape. And then here is that sunroom addition, 1 story, connecting over. It's basically a bridge between the existing house and a modest 1.5 story addition piece, which will include a new outside storage garage, which will probably, house all that stuff, which is currently over here. It'll include a mudroom, bathroom, really more, I'll say, support spaces than like big living spaces. And because, again, kind of reorienting how the house works. This is the rear elevation of that. So the front, and these are that sunroom will function as a multi-use kind of room, and it'll really also have the ability to kind of be a screened-in porch in the summertime. We're going to have wood fold-up. They're actually called fold-up windows. They're wood, true divided light, with a historic sash profile that will actually fold up completely and can stay up when the weather's nice with screens, wood frame screens, painted wood screens will go in there as well as part of that. And so that'll probably be in the summer mainly open, and then that allows us also to obviously close those windows and use it when it's not summer.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Reading somewhere, tin roof, is that the, that's what the
The
tin,
addition I'd like to do in like a more traditional painted tin roof.
that's just
That's
the,
just this very low, the roof over the sunroom piece is low profile.
Yeah.
Because we have the second floor
Gotcha.
windows on the existing house, so it's a very low slope. And again, wanting to just,
okay,
yep. So that will be the one area that there's a different roof, but wanted to keep it as a material and a process that is close to that traditional historical approach. So, and then, so this is the rear of that. So now we're looking at the rear of the house. So we flip the view. This is that window we're adding to that bathroom on the far right side. And then this is the meat of the addition in the back, which will have that, wood garage doors. They're actually just gonna be swinging doors. Entry into a mudroom space, room for my dogs. And then this is the side looking at that. And that's the main house behind, again, showing that it could, there'll be definitely some cedar work on that wall as we patch, connect the addition into that and flash it in below the existing second floor windows. Michelle, if you want to, so here's a cut through that sunroom. So you can see that lower slope, the 1 story, that's the existing window in the front being maintained, and then that is the opening that is being created by removing the 1 window. Additional views of that, and then the end of the garage right there with the 1 window going in.
why'd you cross out all the doors? You weren't, that's not exactly what you're doing? Or-
No, it is what we're doing. I'm happy to go over it. It was,
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. I just was interested in the cross.
that's what we're doing.
That's what you're
And
planning.
just to be clear, like, I'm happy to talk about it. Those are, so I'm not doing clad windows. I'm not doing, these are gonna be wood windows, true divided light, like I explained. They're gonna have, historic profiles, historic sill, the thicker sill profile, all that, really trying to pick up and match and do it correctly to what's there to the extent that's possible in today's world. And then the doors will be the same thing. They'll be solid wood, they'll be maintenance nightmares, but they'll be true divided lights, and they'll work that way. So, as long as we take care of them, it'll work out. So that's what's shown there, and that's what's called out in those notes. And then just some conceptual rendering showing what we're doing. So this is really the big one right here. This is the existing part of the house. There is that 1-story sunroom component, and then the addition here. Again, setting it back from the corners so that the existing corners of the house are represented, and then the scale, size of the forms is secondary to the main house. The details of the windows and the doors will match to the extent possible. Here's the opposite view, and then a view from the back when you pull up that new driveway area in the back. This is the existing entrance to the kitchen, which will remain exactly as is right now.
Okay.
Just included some other things, but that's a picture from the 60s that we acquired from the owners previously. Kind of
Very good.
remarkable how there's no trees when you see it now. And then just, this is
Yeah.
some details.
Thank you very much. Okay. Like I said, very complete application, a lot of issues, and I think you addressed most of them, but let's go around for questions or comments. Don?
I would like to reinforce the compliment that our chairman gave to you. This is one of the best applications I've seen in the 20 years that I've been on this commission. You're sensitive to the setbacks, to the existing original house, and your additions are in keeping with the history of the property. And I would just like to say that I wish every application was as good as this one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I might just add to what Don says. In Chatham, a number of years ago, we have something called Preservation Awards, okay? About every other year, I think it's every other year, we like to acknowledge preservation. Now, you haven't done it yet, but when you're finished, I certainly would think you might be something we might want to submit. But, the purpose of that, not just to give you an attaboy, but just let the public be aware what you can do
Yeah.
versus some of the other things we have to deal with, so.
Well, that's very nice to
Yeah,
hear, and
we'll think-
and
I'm
and I
not voting
appreciate
yes
that
yet,
input.
but still.
Yeah.
But just something to think about.
Yeah.
Stephanie?
I have no comments other than the comments that have already been made. This is
Thank you.
fantastic, and I can understand it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bob?
I agree with the comments. Just a question, do you have to go to the Conservation Commission, or have you been?
I do. We're submitted, Dave Clark submitted that, and we're meeting with them next Wednesday.
On zoning also? You're all right?
I have not done the zoning. I don't know that we'll need to go to zoning. I don't think so.
Well, I don't think so either, but that's not up to me.
Yeah,
but,
no, I don't think I think it's just conservation is the big one after.
Interesting, we'll
Meeting
talk
you.
about that a little later, but I had a conversation in a
I have a
meeting.
question.
Sorry?
I have a question.
I'm sorry?
I have a question.
Yeah, 1 second, Jane.
Okay.
I had a conversation with a number of people and staff over the issue of the order of precedence of the review. And it's kind of interesting that you're here before you go into conversation. Did you make that decision yourself, or what?
I don't think it was I just wanted to get in front and start the conversation with you all.
Okay.
I mean, I wasn't really prioritizing one over
sir.
the other. I just know that, I saw them
weren't
as
trying to play-
equally important on the process. So,
Oh, interesting.
yeah.
Yes, Jane, I'm sorry.
I wasn't on the site visit, but I did go over there and I read every single stake of what was on each stake. It was very confusing when I was there. I do echo what people said about your application, but I would find it very helpful if you could have had the measurements in feet. I know that you're an architect and you did it by scale, 1/4 of an inch, is a foot. And I understand it, but I would have found it easier if you had the feet. And I have another question. Are you planning to save the front door? I think that's a gem.
We're not touching the front door. It is staying as is. Yeah, we will not be messing with that.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about all the trees that have since grown up?
Sorry, what was that?
Jane, can you say it again?
Yes, I had a question about the trees. From the earlier photograph that you showed, now there are lots of trees there.
Yeah, there's only one possible tree that's dying in the front, that's in the row of spruce trees that we're contemplating taking out. Otherwise, we don't want to affect the way that lot is in any way. We love the trees, we love the conservation land, and so on, so. My son is, I'll digress for 1 second. My son's really into landscaping, so we're gonna create a native display garden in the front of the house. That'll be completely his making, so that's the only plans we have right now of anything from a landscape perspective, other than just cultivating what's there.
All right, thank you. Okay, Jane?
Yes, and I always say, this is my theme song, I'm always thrilled when somebody is going to save an original house. And I think this is a gem. In all the years I've been on it, the molding, on the detail, the cornice, is just exquisite.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sandy?
I don't have any questions, but it's a delightful application. Very well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Janet?
No, I think it's a perfect plan to save an antique house and make more livable space and tie in and keep as much as possible. You did a fabulous job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's get rid of this love fest. Thank you very much. And I think I think it's, we do appreciate, your efforts. Very difficult piece of property. I mean, I can imagine that, and, it's a lot of land. Yeah, but it's not a
Yeah.
lot of land.
Yeah.
So, great.
Thank
Great.
you.
So, would this be a summer house or just a,
It'll be a summer house for a while, but as soon as our kids kind of get to that age where they're not tied to school and stuff, I imagine my wife and I will be up here on a more
Well,
permanent basis, so.
well, I know you had said you had been in Chatham for a while.
Yeah, we've been coming to Chatham for years, and so the goal is definitely for us to be up here as much as we can, but we have an 8-year-old, so that's our
Yeah.
youngest, so we got a little bit of time,
Oh, very good.
more time than I care to
Okay,
think.
so we need now a motion relative to the applicability of the Chapter 158. Mr. Lear?
The Chatham Historical Commission also finds that the proposed work to be done dated, what's the date on the plans, Jeff, Jeremy? June 6, 2022, will not materially diminish the historic significance of the building, and therefore the commission does not impose demolition delay.
Second by Sandy. Okay, any other comments or questions? Any members of the public? Okay. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Absolutely.
Jane?
Yes?
Don?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you all, really appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sometime you can, when you're here, you can join the Historical Commission.
Sounds terrific.
We had an architect, we had a couple of architects on every now and then, so,
If Don can put in a plug, you can join the Conservation Foundation, too.
I'm all in. Believe me, I am. Thank you all.
thank you. Okay, relative to no new business, I did want to comment, and there was a letter, let me go through the old business first, and we'll talk about it. Long story short, the first two items, the archaeological survey and the update of the townwide survey, Form E's, D's, and E. I had another meeting with Katie Donovan and some other staff, and, kind of encouraging Katie to move on to the revised scope of work. Is that done for the Form E's? I'm looking at Michelle.
I don't believe so. I think it's in the works.
Are you going to be doing that, or you can delegate it upwards to Katie?
Yes.
Thank you very much. I think there's a new staff person on, maybe he can help you on that. Anyway, so I really am, Steve's not here, but I know we've been sitting on this thing for a couple of years now. I'd like to get it done and understood. Now that we've identified that we do have funding available within remaining allocations of preservation funds. So anyway, that's what's happening there. And just to reiterate what I had said, and Katie again agreed, we want to take a look at all of the Form A's, the Form B's, the Form D's, and the Form E's for the community. We're not taking on the task of generating a preservation plan, which is usually part of that task. That's a big deal. But we at least would like to get those forms updated. We can't save everything, but we like to have a written history of what we have. So when we do lose it, if we have to lose it, we know what Chatham had. So that's the whole purpose of those forms, especially the Form Bs. Moving on, South Chatham Village, what can I say? We did a great job, and actually, just to invite you folks, the South Chatham Village Association on Saturday, the 24th, at 3 p.m. at the South Chatham Village Hall is having their annual meeting in which they will kind of celebrate the receipt of, on August 29th, the formal recognition of the South Chatham Village as a National Registered District and listing on the National Register of Historic Places. Eric Dre will be giving a presentation, basically presenting the application and some drawings, if you're interested, 3 o'clock on Saturday, 24th. Monomoy Theater property, I had a brief conversation about a week or so ago with Mr. Clark. They are proceeding with the final design of the new theater combination restaurant in accordance with comments from the HBDC. So that's moving forward. The former Coast Guard boathouse, there is activity there in the planning for actually stabilizing it and bringing it back to Chatham and working with, I'm looking at Don, because Don and I have been involved with this too long. So there is some conversations back and forth between the town and Mr. Dave Doherty, who's currently the owner of Reckitt, before the town takes it over. So there is some activity getting ready to do that. So that's happening, yes.
Don't they have to put in a bulkhead before they?
Yes, but
Okay.
there still is questions of, ownership and all that kind of good
okay.
stuff. So it is happening. Maybe in our lifetime. So that's happening. Okay, that's it under old business. If there's no other comments, I'll move on quickly. The chairman's report. Bill Horrocks, am I pronouncing his name correctly? Okay. He wrote a letter to the commission, and I thought it was part of the letters related to 305 Main Street. But when I read it again, okay, he doesn't mention 305 Main Street. And I guess if he's listening, he had a number of comments on how we do business, okay? And I don't want to do it now, but I think if you guys could read it again, it's dated September 1st. And, I don't want to just dismiss it. He's got some comments on how we operate, and, we're not perfect. And so maybe at our next meeting, we'll put it on our agenda, and again, under correspondence, to review that. And if you would let Bill know, and if he wants to, we're going to be discussing it again at the September 5th meeting, because he did have some comments. I don't just want to ignore him, okay?
Not September 5th.
October 4th.
I'm sorry, thank you very much. Okay, no other correspondence. Again, under the issue of demolition delay, no changes in the existing demolitions as indicated, correct? And we do have an action we have to take. There were two administrative reviews which need ratifications, 122 School Street and 22 Pleasant Street. We probably should take each independent. I will say for the members of the public and the members of the commission, we believe that process is working. I mean, it's myself and Bob and Don and Steve who, depending on which one, Michelle asks us to go take a look and validate her basically inclination, if not decision. I know Christina's near-term indication that, this should be applicable for administrative review. And it does save everybody time and money. And so we have two of them. 122 School Street, Bob?
I don't think I looked at that one, so.
Don, you did?
Yeah, that's a pine box.
Oh, yes.
It looks like a
Pine box.
Walpole Woodworkers or something like that. And I don't think it has any historical
I
significance.
agree. And it was also, its age was very subject. But this was an application just to remove that little pine box, as Dawn said. It was a shed, and replace it. So that's what we're looking for, administrative review ratification. Mr. Leary?
I move approval as appropriate for administrative review and approval of the change.
Okay. A second?
I'll second it.
Second, Dawn? Okay. Any discussion? All right. Roll call. Bob?
Yes.
Steph?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes,
Don?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. The second one was 22 Pleasant Street. Interesting, this was our first application of a contributing structure in the National Register District. And the applicant really wasn't too happy, but I think we calmed him down. And he was here actually at the meeting and spoke when we were considering it. But he understood what was happening. This was work on the back of the house on an old shed which was attached to the house, and he was replacing some windows. And it was nothing more than that. And I thought it was appropriate. I don't know who else looked at it. Oh, did you look at it?
I did, and
Okay,
I agree with your analysis. I think it's appropriate for administrative review and approval, and I so move.
All right, we have a second?
Second?
Okay, second by Janet. Very good. No comments? Roll call. Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Jane?
yes,
Don?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Thank you very much. Before we leave, I just want to make one further comment relative to this meeting I had with Jeff, who's here, our new principal planner. Jeff will be attending the meetings as much as he can, just to get a sense of what's going on. And as I said before, as appropriate, Jeff will write what you can consider a staff report, which will come back to us, the commission, and give us some information, on things that we may not see. It's kind of a disinterested view, step back looking at what the application is and what we have or have not or should consider. So from his perspective as a planner. So that will be just additional information to help us walk across the water. So I wanted just to get that clear. The other things that we discussed potentially where Jeff would potentially get involved at some future date, Steph, I look to you, the issue of demo neglect.
I'd love to get started.
Okay, the chapter 158, 75-year threshold, which was Steve Burlingame's, that Steve wanted us to really look at that. And then the staff reports I talked about. That was it. Unless there's no other questions or comments or additions?
Jeopardy.
Somebody move for adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
I second.
Second by Stephanie. Any comments, questions? None? Mr. Lear?
Yes.
Stephanie?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Janet? And the chair
Yes.
votes yes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Stina. Thank you, Jeff.